Well, joining me live now is Erin Zelen, a senior fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Very good to have you with us on the programme. Welcome. This is, of course, very early days. But what do you make of what we are seeing in Syria since the fall of the regime?
I think that there's a lot of questions about the future now because, of course, HTS or Hayat Tahrir Hashem, they started the offensive from the north, but it was actually the rebels from the south that took over the city of Damascus, and they don't have the same level of capabilities to govern a city like HTS does. And so because of the speed of everything happening, we've begun to see some looting within the city, and therefore one of the key factors going forward is to make sure that everything is secured so that this transition can happen and everybody can go back to their normal day-to-day lives.
What do you think that political transition could look like? Do you think there is the possibility here for infighting for groups under that broader opposition umbrella?
I think that HTS will try and integrate the elements from the South because there were HTS guys that were within the broader Southern offensive. However, there could be issues with the Turkish-backed Syrian National Army, which is in the northern part of the country, which, while the regime has fallen, continues to fight against the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, the majority Kurdish group. And therefore, that could create more tensions between the US and Turkey right now, especially since the SDF is the main partner that has been fighting the Islamic State on the ground.
And I also want to ask what you think about the prospect for leadership from HTS, for example, in the interim. Of course, we know that they have governed in Idlib, but what kind of governance do you think that they could provide more broadly, particularly at this critical time?
Well, they definitely have a large cadre of people that they can rely upon that has governance experience, because one of the things that people don't realize is that 3/4 of the population that was in Idlib were displaced people from all over the country. So they can mobilize resources of people that have local faces for different cities and towns, and therefore hopefully try to build up some stability. But this transition will be easier said than done. It will be hard because of the speed at which everything happened. The Aleppo aspect of it a week ago, they were prepared for because they had a feeling they might take the city. But taking Damascus within 10 days, I don't think they thought that that was going to happen.
And I also wonder, how do you think that Washington, the US, will deal with the fact that HTS is a designated terrorist organization? How will they go about the process of those conversations?
Well, the reality is we've seen a huge transformation of HTS over the last 7 years. Obviously, there are some problematic aspects of it still in terms of its extremism, and that it's a conservative Islamist regime that it's held in Idlib. There's also the fact that there remain foreign fighters in its fighting force, though probably less than 5% of them. And therefore, I imagine there will be back channeling and potential discussions about how this could play out. But getting a group off of a terrorist list is no easy task if you look at the history of it. But one solution could be that HTS just dissolves and they just become the new government.
Erin Zelen, a senior fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Very good to have you with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.